All right, good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate everybody joining us on a warm May afternoon for our Public Safety Committee meeting. I'll call this meeting to order now. It is May 20th, 2025. It's just after 4 o'clock p.m. If you would, please take just a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Amen. All right, first on our agenda, we've got minutes from the April 15th. All right, a motion to approve and a second. Any additions, deletions, any other further comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we've got a police department approval to submit an application for the Gary Sinise Foundation First Responder Outreach Grant in the amount of $8,200. That grant will fund an underwater sonar and Charleston Police Department underwater response team.
Move for approval.
All right, no match
Second.
required on that. We've got a motion for approval and a second. Any discussion, Councilman Seekings? Nope. Any other discussion, anyone? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Gary Sinise, man, what a great guy. He does such good things. A lot of y'all know he's Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump and other things, but he does such great things in the community and has certainly helped us out with this grant. I know he's putting on a big Memorial Day celebration this weekend up at the nation's capital as well, so hosting that. So the next on our agenda, item number 4, Police Department approval to enter into a sub-award agreement with Tri-County Speaks, SPEAKS.
Move for approval.
We've got a
Second.
motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, yeah, and that is that group. It does a lot of good in our community too. We appreciate the cooperation they have with our police department, but they are formerly they were People Against Rape. It's Tri-County Sexual Violence Prevention, Education, Advocacy, Knowledge Services, and we appreciate all the work that they do with our local area, our police department. So next item up, item number 5.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, we have Councilman Mitchell on. Who else? Is another councilman on?
Brady's on.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see
Okay.
your name up there. Apologies. Just voice
right.
from above.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us virtually. All right. Next on the agenda, we have Police Department and Fire Department together asking for an approval to submit an application for the FY25 Port Security Grant Program in the amount of $1,727,600. Proposed investment projects include a portable fire pump and marine firefighting training, rope access training, and chemical identification devices for Charleston Fire Department, as well as an EOD robot and 2 underwater ROV for CPD. If awarded, the grant requires a 25% match of $431,900 and would be budgeted for the fiscal year of 2026.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next up, we have the Fire Department asking for an approval of an MOU between the CFD and U.S. Coast Guard for provisions of fire, medical, hazardous materials, and confined spaces rescue services on the USCG Cutter Kingfisher.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, and is my computer not scrolling? Item number 7 is an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Charleston, South Carolina, Chapter 21, to add a new section 21-114 to establish a juvenile curfew in the City of Charleston. Can I get a motion to approve for discussion?
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, oh, I'm sorry. We'll open the floor for discussions now. I'm sorry.
Chief, maybe you could give us some details behind this?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for the opportunity, Mr. Chair. And just to add some context to this proposed ordinance, let me start by this. From January 2024 through April of this year, our officers have documented more than 40 serious late-night incidents involving juveniles in the Central Business District, primarily along King Street, especially at the intersections of Mary, Reed, Fulton Street, and Calhoun Streets. These were not minor infractions. They include assaults, auto thefts, drug possessions, weapons charges, vandalisms, and underage drinking, all occurring between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. when most minors should not be out unsupervised, all right? Especially in the heart of the Central Business District, which is a target-rich environment and a regional hub for nightlife, tourism, and commerce. So why are we here? Because we cannot afford to wait for the problem to grow. We want to act now. So this proposed juvenile curfew ordinance is about prevention, protection, and partnerships. It provides officers with a practical tool to intervene before situations escalate. It allows us to safely return minors to a parent or a guardian. It reinforces the boundaries parents are already working hard to set and offers additional layers of support and accountability for families. This ordinance is also about maintaining safe and welcoming public spaces. Business owners in the Central Business District have already told us directly that a curfew is reasonable and responsible steps towards ensuring not only the safety of residents, visitors, but also their employees, right? This is not a speculation. We know juvenile-related crimes late at night is a real and growing issue. That's exactly why this ordinance matters. So it sets clear boundaries during the high-risk hours from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., Thursday through Sunday, and every night during the summer when these incidents are most likely to occur. That's kind of some of the context of the ordinance. I will open up for any questions, and we do have Steve and our legal staff here to answer any particulars about the ordinance itself.
Chief, this is Councilman Mitchell. What age that you would start this from? These?
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat that, Councilman Mitchell?
Yeah, the age. What age?
Age is 17 and under. Anybody
Okay.
in the state of South Carolina is considered a juvenile under the age 17 and under.
Right.
Mr. Mayor?
Chief, 40 incidents over the past several months may to some not sound like a lot, but in terms of the type of incidents that you have and y'all's experience over really the past year, 2, 3,
Yes.
are showing a growing trend, if I'm correct,
Yes.
of these mobs of teenagers getting larger and larger and larger and being more unruly. So maybe you could speak a little bit to that it's not just these 40 specific incidents.
No.
This is a larger trend.
Yeah, it's definitely a larger trend. The incidents, they occurred, but what we're seeing on a regular basis is, like I say, specifically on the nights like Thursday through Saturday and some on Sunday, we have large amounts of juveniles that's congregating downtown. A lot of the surface lots, when we start talking about the sidewalks hanging in between establishment at that hour that they can't get into. That's part of the problem that we are seeing on a regular basis. And even from a resource standpoint, we're stretched to the max. Not only dealing with what happens down there doing that, but you're adding juveniles into that element. And we're just looking to try to address some of those things in a proactive manner and not wait until we have a major incident down there. And I'm speaking from experience. We've had situations where juveniles meet up to settle their differences down there. And then you throw in the fact that this is a very target-rich environment and the onset of weapons and guns. We have a large contingency, a large presence of officers down there. But you're thinking rationally. That don't deter people that want to do things to one another. It don't matter if we have 1,000 officers down there. So we're looking for solutions. And we're coming and pleading, this is a continuation from several weeks ago when I've looked into the community. We're looking to the parents, we're looking to the schools, we're looking for some accountability other than out in the field at 10, 11, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're 13 years old, and you've been dropped off in a business district where you can't get in that one establishment. So that's really the crux of what we're seeing as a major problem downtown. And we try to focus with this ordinance to make sure that we're addressing the problems. We didn't do a blanket approach. We didn't say a peninsula approach. We didn't say a citywide approach. We try to focus on the problem at hand. And the problem is these kids down here in really alcohol, really sponsored establishments, or standing outside alcohol sponsored establishments. So we try to keep our focus on the problem.
Councilmember Seekings. Okay, Councilmember Tinkler.
Are the crimes that are committed by the minors, is it substantially different than the crimes that are committed by the adults in this district specifically?
I'm sorry now?
I mean, are the crimes different that they're committed?
Well,
I mean,
being when you start talking about underage drinking, and then it's significantly different when you're saying a 17-year-old can't be in possession of weapons. And so when you start talking about the social makeup and the biggest difference between an adult crime and juveniles that have social communication issues, yeah, it's a huge difference. A huge difference.
and I mean, is there, I know we've narrowed this down to the central business district, but is it pronounced more there than anywhere
Yes,
else in
sir.
the peninsula?
Yeah, yes, because that's in understanding, just so everyone, I offer anybody that hasn't been downtown, especially during that hour, you can see it right out the rip. You know, I'm not making these things up. When you want to come and see a mob of juveniles hanging out in the surface lot, or your parking deck, or in between, two businesses, taking up the entire sidewalks. These are some of the things that we're seeing on a regular basis. So yeah, and it becomes substantial because what we're doing, the ordinance really allows us to further kind of what we're doing. We having to call the parents when we come in contact with them anyway, unless there's a more serious felony type charge that we will have to take them to DJJ. But if that makes sense. Yes, sir.
Mayor Cogswell. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Seekings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Chief, for doing this. Our number one job around here is public safety. Sometimes you got to make some tough decisions. No one likes that curfew word, but I am just, so you know, 100% in favor of this. We've talked about it. I think you're doing the right thing. I have a couple of observations and a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
A good bit of the district that is up on the screen that's sitting in front of me is in District 8. A good bit of it is in District, council members district. I think that the citizens 100% endorse this. I do think, and I'd like to ask why it doesn't include the East Bay Street corridor, where there's a whole bunch of establishments there too, south of Holbeck Alley. I mean, can we add that in? It doesn't seem like a heavy lift to add that in, but that is a corridor that, as you know, is an entertainment district. There are a number of establishments along there. So between Broad and Holbeck on East Bay is part of the entertainment district. I'd love to see that added. For sure. Secondly, I think it's important to get some perspective and history on this. This all sort of is an adjunct of and part and parcel of what we did when we made the tough decisions on Upper King Street to begin with, when we had the challenges that we had that included some really tough things. And closing the street down to parking, moving it to one-way traffic. The reason we did that was not because of the people on King Street. We did it because it was people on King Street that weren't patronizing any businesses. They were hanging out in King Street, and it was a problem. And the moves that we have made have worked. And so I have 100% confidence that the police chief and his team have looked at this and studied this, and this is just the next natural step that comes from what we've already done on Upper King Street that has been proven to work. As a practical matter, Chief, what does it look like from an enforcement perspective?
So, and it really don't change. There's a lot of exceptions to this ordinance. If you're going to and from and have no reason to come in contact with police. It's not one of those things that you're going to look. But the issues that we're dealing with is not those. We're coming in contact with them for legal reasons. Like I said, congregating. The marijuana smoke is, you just can walk down. So if we come in contact with you and find you in violation, that's when it's going to be enforced. People going to and from work, that's not an issue. Walking through, going to a business, that's not what we're looking for. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that's there already committing infractions.
Right.
That's when the enforcement comes. You can't be here, you got to be home. And it's really calling the attention back to where it need to be. Home, the parents. Do they know that you're out at 1 in the morning and you're 14? I'm not being facetious, but this is some of the serious facts that we're dealing with on a regular basis down here in this part of the city. So the enforcement don't really change. When we come in contact with the folks, even if it's not a major felony, we meet up and we have the parents come and meet us, and the custody is switched over from us to their parents. That footprint is still be the same even with this ordinance in place, but it gives us more resources to actually enforce large groups that's already hanging out down there.
Mr. Chairman, if I might follow up just very quickly, I forgot
Yes, sir.
one thing. In terms of timing, we actually had a meeting today of the Business Improvement District, the King Street Business Improvement District. And this topic came up. Lieutenant Taylor was there and discussed it. And I think it's fair to say, although we didn't take a vote of endorsement, that there was unanimity around that table of the business community that's in this corridor, that this was something that they endorsed. And I believe we actually have a member of that business community here. So just wanted to make sure the record reflects that I think the citizens who live in this area and the businesses that operate in this area are 100% behind this. I do think it would be important for us on this council, so we can report back to our constituents, that we get some follow-up from you and your team, perhaps 3 to 6 months down the road to see how it's going.
Absolutely.
I noticed that there is no sunset on this, so it's something that I think we ought to monitor as we go
Absolutely.
along. Mr. Chairman, I would ask that we do that, just
Okay.
so we can think about it, revisit it, whether it needs to be expanded, adjusted, changed. I think that would be a really good idea. But with that, I can assure you that District 8 and the citizens and the businesses in there think that you're doing the right thing, Chief, and we'll be behind you to the extent there's any questions about it.
Sure. Good suggestion. Councilmember Brady.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I just had a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
One, instead of looking at the curfew, when I lived in Virginia Beach, when I was in high school, they had a citywide curfew. So, I don't think that's unusual. But if you're saying that they're congregating and everything, what are we already citing for loitering or obstructing a public right of way or anything like that?
No, no, sir, no.
So this would be
Yes,
at least
yes, sir.
pretext is probably the wrong word, but it would be the impetus for,
Yes.
okay.
And and like I said, we try to be very, understanding as far as we have to have a legal right,
Right.
so that don't change with this.
And then
ordinance.
my other question was similar to Councilmember Seeking's talking about going down East Bay. I noticed it stops at Line Street, but if you go a little bit further north, recovery room's up that way as
Recovery.
well. And I just don't want to see people start getting flushed north. Like, let's get it to the end of, kind of where people are going.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, yes, sir. Mayor Cogswell.
I just echo Councilman Seeking's points. I mean, I really appreciate you all, the police department, being proactive on this, trying to be thoughtful about this. And yeah, I'm sure we could make adjustments to the map, and I'm sure adjustments will be needed.
Yes.
So I'm open to redrawing the lines a little bit here and there. I certainly think that's a great point to revisit this in 6 months or so, collecting data and see what we're finding. But I do think there is an urgency to this, especially given that schools are getting out this weekend. And so I do think happy to look at some potential floor amendments or what have you, but do not want to hold this up given kids are starting to congregate now. And and I think you all know this as members of council. I know Councilman Seekings, Councilman Mitchell's been out and about. If you're curious about it, and just go to Upper King Street on a weekend night. I mean, it's pretty obvious what we're talking about, and it's getting worse. And so I think I really do applaud the police department for being proactive on this, because really this is an effort to avoid what could potentially be a real tragedy. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Mayor, I agree 100% with this because I go and check it all. Just like Councilman Seekins is down there, but I'm down there driving through and walking through, and these young people are down there. If you cannot buy alcohol, I don't know why they're hanging out down in that area because they cannot buy alcohol. So, but you got people would give them and serve them alcohol from back doors and give it to them. So I believe we are looking at saving some of the young people also by doing this. You know, it's just not say we trying to run them away, but they should not be in that area anyway unattended if they can't even buy alcohol anyway. And so this is the way I'm looking at it. And I think with this summer months coming on, I think we need to do something to try to save some of our young people. That's any young persons that's down there, because anything can happen, kick off during the summer. So I think this would kind of help. And we say public safety, so this is all part of public safety, keeping everybody safe if we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Mitchell. Councilman Tinkler.
Thank you. How are we gonna, was the plan to make amendments today or? Okay. Okay, well, I mean, I before you do that, I had a couple of questions that may,
Man, come on.
may help with amendments. The first, I know that the summer months are, I guess, July and August. Is there a reason why June isn't included among those months? Okay,
We'll
so
add June.
All right.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, it's been a while since I've been to this area past 9 o'clock, you know, having 2 kids at home. So, but I do remember when I was in high school and I hung out in downtown. And when I was downtown, it was usually to go to the music farm or a Spoleto event at the Cistern. And I noticed that there was not an exception or exemption relating to entertainment establishments like that, organized entertainment establishments. I mean, would there be any, or in your experience, do any of these minors that are congregating, are they attending any of these types of establishments? So
Most concerts are 18 and up. Yeah, get in.
right. Right. Well, I guess specifically, I looked at, I think it was Greenville's ordinance. They have an exception to that effect. I mean, you know, I know I mentioned the music farm, but even basketball games at the College of Charleston, where I mean, is there?
They're at the College of Charleston. We're not coming to look for them at the College of Charleston at them going to an event. That's not going to be a problem. That's not, you know, we can, what if, I'm not trying to say discount that, but if they're going to a basketball game, you're not going to have the Charleston Police Department standing guard to check IDs to see if they're of age to get into a basketball game.
Right, but I mean, if they're leaving the basketball game,
They're leaving.
walking down the sidewalk.
They can walk. We're not going to stop them from walking. We're not going to encounter them from walking through King Street. That's not the purpose of this ordinance at all. Okay? So we're not here to prevent people that's, you know, that infringe on constitutional issues from them moving to and from. That's not the purpose of this ordinance at all.
If I may, I think having the, check back in 6 months, I think, I mean, trust me, if there are problems about some 15-year-old leaving a College of Charleston basketball game and getting detained or whatever in Marion Square, we'll hear about it. So I think this is more really a deterrent for these mobs that are showing up, and they're increasingly getting larger and larger, just to have a preventative measure and give them the tools that they need to address it. So.
Councilmember Seekings.
So if I might, I have an observation I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman. One of the things I think that we need to put in perspective here and put on the record is the adjustments we've made in this corridor have worked. And this is just the next in a line of adjustments to make sure we make it as safe as it possibly can be. And we have, along the way, every single time we've had a conversation about it, thought about it, we've made adjustments. So I feel very confident that when we put this in place, and I have hope that we will do that, that we'll be able to monitor it and make those adjustments. So it's a work in progress, and it's good. I would move that we approve this with a couple of amendments. One is we add June to the list. Secondly, that on the map that will be attendant to it, we take it down East Bay Street to Broad Street, and then we move the map north to the road, which I believe, I'm trying to think, Chief, which street it is, to the north of the recovery room, which I think is the ramp that comes in off of I-26, Carolina Street. Then we move the map to Carolina Street, that this committee approve this today so we can get it to City Council for first reading in May and have second reading in June. So
Second.
that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion to amend. We're going to add the month of June. We're going to have an extension on the map that goes down East Bay to Carolina Street.
No, East Bay Street to Broad Street
Okay.
and up King Street to Carolina Street,
Okay, East
Am
Bay
I
to
on the right
Broad
street?
Street. Okay.
Carolina Street. Yes,
up-
sir.
Up to Carolina Street.
Yes, sir. I see Councilmember Mitchell. I hope that's okay with you because we just extended in your district.
I see that.
So we have a motion to amend the original motion.
And approve. Amend and approve.
And approve. Any further discussion? I haven't said much. I'm certainly going to support this, 40 serious incidences and growing, and I'm hearing people that are seeing this, Councilmember Seekings and Councilmember Mitchell, Mayor Cogswell, who are down here and see our issues, and I certainly understand the public safety issue, so I'll certainly be supporting it as well. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And
Mr. Chairman, this will be, with this approval, we will put it on the agenda for the May meeting of council for first reading.
okay, great. Thank you very much. It'll be on the May meeting for City Council. Our next item was the appeal was withdrawn by the applicant. Is there anything further to come before this committee before we adjourn? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.